Succeeding
in a dysfunctional family.
in dysfunctional families.
This is probably going to be my last time preaching it because I preached it twice and I preach quite often, but it's important. Look at your other neighbor on the other side of you and say, neighbor, succeeding when everything is messed up.
When everything is messed up.
It is of the utmost importance that while you look around the room and you recognize that you're with family members that have some tweaks or some quirks, or some things about them that seem very odd, they are still yet family.
That's right.
You have never been pressed like anything that is going to press you in your life until you start having to deal with family. And oftentimes when you're dealing with family, it's very hard because you're dealing from the emotion that you already love them and you care for them and they are in a spot in your life that you don't really allow individuals to get to. Is that all right? Tell your neighbor that that's exactly where they are. And while you're dealing with family, you're dealing with family from this perspective that you cannot believe that they would do some of the things that they did to hurt you where they hurt you from, and then you have to succeed after. Jesus is in a precarious predicament because he yet knows, but his destiny is calling, and the individuals around him who are supposed to assist him in getting to that destiny. Funny thing about destiny is that when destiny calls, you must answer. Look at your neighbor and say, I must answer.
I must answer.
Why is this a dysfunctional situation? Jesus is such a polarizing individual in the scriptures that sometimes we don't pay attention to the other key players that he is involved with. You got one individual who is going to deny him but says he loves him. And then you got another individual who betrays him and handles all of the money. And then you got another individual who doubts that he's even risen from the grave. I would love to point out a few points that, trying to keep my time, I would love to point out this, is that when a person tells you they love you and they don't come up to the standard that you expect them to be, sometimes it's disheartening. Look at your neighbor and say, sometimes it just hurts.
Sometimes it just hurts.
It doesn't matter how y'all act today. I'm still going to preach the way I'm going to preach anyway, so it don't even matter. Because what you find is that while you're dealing with your family has a tendency to pull you in directions that you really didn't intend to go. And you have to be careful about the people that love you because love you can get in the way. I will prove it to you. Jesus is standing after he gets out of here in the garden, and Peter has a sword. Look at your neighbor and say, Peter had a sword.
Peter had a sword.
I'll make y'all be involved anyway. Peter has a sword and he loves Jesus. We're not going to deny that. But what is found out is that his love will detour Jesus from his destiny if he goes with what Peter wants to do. Wow. So Peter takes out his sword out of love and cuts the soldier's ear off. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
And if he cuts the soldier's ear off, Jesus looks at him and says, put your sword up, takes the ear off the ground and puts it back on the soldier's ear. Why is that significant? He's not cutting his ear off because he hates Jesus. He's cutting his ear off because he loves him. And you have to be careful with people that love you because they sometimes, because of their love and lack of vision, will cause you to not see your destiny and detour you from where God wants you to be. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I can't get detoured.
I can't get detoured.
The second problem is that you have Jesus that has went through Garden of Gethsemane, and for all of us Bible scholars, we understand that is where you get the oil crushed out of you. You can't never be nothing with God until you go through something that has driven you to the brink of almost insanity. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm glad God kept my mind where it is. I only got 2 more minutes. Y'all don't bear with me. And while God is getting on the cross and he's preparing to cross over into his great destiny, he has a problem because all of the individuals who said he loves them have left him. Have you ever been abandoned in the most prominent time in your life where you needed an individual just to please stand there and support me? I don't need no money. I don't need you to do nothing. I just need you to show up. Look at your neighbor and say, show up.
Show up.
Showing up says a lot of things for a lot of people. Everybody don't need your money. Sometimes they don't need you to tell them the right thing. Sometimes I just need you to listen to what's going on in my life. After I vent, I'm going to get out of what I'm in. Look at your neighbor and say, just vent.
Just vent.
And then you go a step further. A step further says this. A step further says that Judas has betrayed me and he was in the company of me for at least 3 years. Can I have 2 more minutes just to go through betrayal? Because all of us need to have a lesson on betrayal. Betrayal says this. Betrayal says, I'm not betrayed by you if I don't really care about you, but I have let you in a space in my life that I would normally not even let you go, because betrayal can't happen if I don't trust you. I'm gonna let that marinate like some neck bones and some greens, and I'll come back.
Come on, Shawn.
You have to understand that betrayal is one of the worst things that can ever happen, but you still can succeed even though all of the things that you count dear to you have betrayed you. Look at your neighbor, say, yeah, I've been there, done that. Got a t-shirt, got the chips and the dip to go with it. You find that when you're dealing with a situation like betrayal, it becomes psychological. Look at your neighbor, say, it becomes psychological. It becomes psychological because you have to now go in your mind and think about the intent of the individual who hurt you so intensely. Because when you get hurt like that, it was done on purpose. It means it was calculated. You can't go to sleep at night because now you got to deal with the hurt and the pain of being betrayed. We go a step further and I'm done. Now he's on the cross and he's all alone. Look at your neighbor, say he's all alone. He's all alone, but still, have you noticed something in the significance of Jesus is that he's still pressing towards his destiny. Look at your neighbor, say pressing towards his destiny.
Pressing towards his destiny.
I ain't coming down there today. Y'all just take here. We're going to have church anyhow. He's pressing towards his destiny with all of the things that have went wrong in his life, but it did not stop him from getting to where God wanted him to be. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, I cannot let disappointment, heartache, or pain stop me from getting to where God wants me to be. Look at you. I didn't hear y'all say none of that stuff, y'all. None of the stuff God wanted y'all to do. Say, neighbor, I am not going to let disappointment, heartache, pain, abandonment, get in the way of my destiny. When destiny calls, you must pick up the phone. Some of y'all too young, y'all don't know about this, but there was a show called Batman. I ain't talking about the one with the color, I'm talking about the one in black and white. So that wipes out more than 95% of these people here. And I'm talking about Batman with the gray suit on and the black trunks, okay? Okay, follow what I'm about to say. Most of us are sitting in a predicament right now where that Batman, I know I just missed a whole generation with this story. That Batman used to have a phone inside the mayor's office. It didn't even, watch what it says. It did not ring, it flashed. Look at your neighbor, say, it just flashed. Destiny happens in a flash. But what I want you to understand is about destiny is that it's important for you to answer the phone when it flashes. Look at your neighbor, say, baby, destiny is calling.
Destiny is calling.
I said all that to say this. You've got to learn how to overcome disappointment, because disappointment builds who you are. I said disappointment builds who you are. Disappointment builds who you are. Because who you are in the great moments ain't really nothing. Everybody good when it's good, but watch this. Love ain't love if I have to prove it to you, but I'm buying you everything. Love is love when everything has gone wrong and you still stand there with me. I went too long. I want to say, the musician laughed. I went too long. I want to say this before we go. Family act crazy. It just is what it is. Family is there to teach you life lessons so you can survive. Right? You have to have the fortitude to say, I can't let nothing kill me because I got too much to live for.
Come on.
Y'all ain't clap your hands, y'all all ready to go, huh? Y'all done gave up already. Survival, a parent teaches a child how to live. You ain't had a baby? You know you was having no sex? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Sorry. I didn't know they was grown. They always do. How did it mean to be? good parent teaches a kid how to survive without. I can go fishing all day long. I'll show you how to fish, you fish. Show you how to build a house, you build your own house. It's cool to do it with them, but in the event, you can carry on. Follow what I'm saying. Learn how to survive. Learn how to go without. It builds character when you don't have enough. That's right. I didn't say that clearly enough. When you don't have enough, it builds your character. So then when you have enough, you still act like you didn't have enough.
All right.
Do that make sense?
All right.
I'm serious because I can't have church in here today. This ain't my church. On behalf of the family, I want to thank all of y'all. Seriously, love all of y'all. Didn't mean to say you had sex. I said it again. I'm sorry. Adulting. I'm trying to make it better. But I appreciate y'all. Love my family. Love to brag. I know y'all because I ain't really famous like that, but just to be like, oh, that's my cousin. And just, you don't know how telling people your cousin gets you out of trouble every time. I'm still living in Inglewood. I'm supposed to call somebody to sing. Kiso. I'm leaving, and after.